Alright guys, so today we are looking at a new wireless microphone, and this one actually we're kind of excited for. I stumbled across this one because I had done a review previously for a brand called Lensgo, and actually I've been using the microphone when I shoot over there or the occasional time that I shoot outside. I've been actually quite happy with it, and it's a very budget friendly microphone from Lensgo, but this one still budget friendly, coming in at right now 239 Canadian, so a little more expensive for sure, but nothing crazy. You know, you can look at pro level wireless microphones easily spending Canadian $600-700 plus without question. Now this thing, like I said, 239, only has 3 ratings right now, but 5 stars, so that's good. And because of my previous experience, I think it should be good. But there's a couple features on this that kind of struck me, and it's one of the big reasons that I'm interested in it. And we're gonna look at that right now. Okay, so here's their Amazon listing first and foremost. As you can see, 3 ratings, 5 stars, $239. So there are 3 main reasons that I like this. Number 1, when we look at this, is that it does use AA batteries to run off of. Now, I wasn't a huge fan of that, but it does allow, as it says in here, if you scroll down a little bit here, extra long working hours. It can be, says 2 power supply modes are available, and one is powered with AA's, which is probably the one that we would use primarily, but it can also be powered by a Type-C charger. So my guess is anything that can produce like a Type-C style charging power brick, we could just plug it in with a Type-C cable into our power brick, and we should be good to go. And for those of us that may have a cage or something on our, let's say, camera, we could get a little plate, put our battery brick up there, cable into the transmitter, ready to rock and roll, good to go. I think you could get long life out of that. So that's number 1. I thought that was kind of cool. Number 2, for those of us that are running on AA's, it does have what's called a high and a middle, I think it's called middle, power modes. And from basically up to 100 feet, you can put it in this like middle power, I think it's called middle. See if I can find it here. Yeah, adjustable RF signal strength. So from 0 to 100 meters, you can put it in middle mode. If it's 100 to 150 meters, which 150 is its maximum, you put it in this high mode. And what's nice about this is a lot of wireless systems just have one power mode, which means that they're pushing out maximum strength all the time. But if we're within 100 meters, as this said, like for me to the camera right now, I can put it in this middle mode, and that's gonna just help my batteries to extend. So I like that feature as well. I think that's really cool. Last one, and the one that's by far the biggest and most important feature for me, is that this has the ability to take a TF or a micro SD card and actually put it right in the transmitter. So what happens is, and we've all experienced this I'm sure at some point, that we've recorded something and there's been static on the recording, or the recording has dropped in and out. When we go to play it back later, we're like, oh, something got in there because we got too far, or again, there was just too much interference in the area that we were shooting in. This will actually record the audio straight onto a micro SD card in the transmitter. So before it actually transmits, it's recording to the actual transmitter onto this micro SD card. So if you realize that your camera, for instance, the audio that got to it was garbage, was no good, there was a problem with it, you're okay. You just take that little SD card out and sync up your audio that way, and you're off to the races. That is probably the biggest reason that I think this is a killer little unit. Again, coming in at just over 200 bucks. I think that's fantastic. But yeah, that little ability to, right here, right? Maximum card, 32 gigs, card recording to prevent missing recordings, direct editing without conversion. Yeah, fantastic. All right, guys, here's the box. LWM 328C radio and television wireless microphone. Again, card recording, infrared sync pairing function. Now, just realize this too, You can allow the receiver and the transmitter to auto sync, so they pick the proper channel that they think is best, but you and I have the ability to set that to manual if we want to, which is cool. This sentence here, not the greatest. The receiver monitor jack canned the status of the recording sound source. Just realize that you can plug headphones into these so you can listen to it directly. You don't have to listen to it from your camera, or if you're missing some kind of mic jack, you got one now, so you're good to go. The longest distance can reach 150 meters without delay, anti-interference. Sounds good? I think so. And you get some stats here. If you guys want to look at that, have at her. You're more than welcome to. On the back, we get a little diagram, nice little pro level looking photo, and your accessories. All right, let's crack this open. Now, it doesn't come with like a micro SD card or anything like that. This does have, though, a lovely box. It's a lovely little box. It's well presented, without question. So I'm gonna do this just so you can see the box itself, and that's it. So you'll see the actual transmitter and receivers. You get a bag of goodies. We're gonna take the bag of goodies out over here. You get, I don't know, this is all the other stuff we sell. You do get a manual, of course, some silica gel if that's of interest, but manual's laid out very nicely, actually. Allows you to go through this and play with it, so that's cool. And you get the transmitter and receiver. So you and I are gonna take these out. We'll talk about these in a minute. I'm gonna put these over here. We're gonna move this box, and we're gonna look at what comes in the bag. Now, after we do all this, we're gonna go out for a little walk, and we'll see how it works. All right, so in the bag, number one, we get your microphone. Cool, little microphone. We get, now you will get two of these cables. Now this is going to be the cable that plugs into the actual receiver. So this receives and then goes into your camera. So there's going to be two of these. And it's really important to realize that the red one, or if you look here, there's these rings. This is what's called a TRS cable. This goes into like cameras and things like that. Now you'll also get, I think, in here, another one of these, which is this one. Now this one, same thing, goes into your receiver, but this is a TRRS, and this goes into like a smartphone. So if you ever plug this into your camera and then you get no audio, you're gonna be super thankful that you had that SD card in there for sure. But that's the reason you're not getting audio transferring through, and vice versa. If you use this one on your smartphone, that's not gonna help you either. So just kind of be aware. You gotta get those in the right order. You get this. Now, this is going to go into XLR style microphones if you want to have a different one kind of coming into, or going into maybe like a soundboard or something like that. Because, just so you guys can see this here, on the actual transmitter itself, it does have a line in. So if you want to be able to pull this from a line, you'll see mic and line. So if you're plugged into a soundboard, for instance, that's doing some extra work, it's got a whole bunch of stuff plugged in, you can use this to go into the line in if you want. Don't think it's going to be for an XLR mic, because I don't think, unless it was a microphone possibly that maybe, I don't know, that produced its own power. Again, I'm not, that's above my pay grade. You do get a little clip with your little wind muff that's going to go on the microphone right here for when we're outside. And last but not least, we're going to get a little mount here. So this is going to clamp on and give us access to a 1/4 inch or a cold shoe. So depending on if we want to mount this on top of our camera, for instance like this, or onto like a tripod or monopod or something like that. Very cool. And that's everything in the bag. But I like that they give you a little bag, because this is handy. You can throw everything in there. Let's just move all this stuff away because we don't need it now. Then we have the transmitter and receiver. Transmitter, receiver, TX, RX. So first off, let's talk about the receiver. We do have that output monitor. So depending on if we want headphones and output, depending on what we're going to be outputting this to. Set, this will allow us to see the channels we're on. And if we don't like the auto channel that it shows, we can go in there and, of course, change that to manual and set that up ourselves. Going around here, we do have the infrared right there. Again, we have our output and monitor. We have a little indicator light. We have our USB-C right here, and this is where we're going to be able to power this if we want to power it from a USB-C battery. We have where our AA's will go, so you just clip those and these open up. And we have our like belt clamp, or clamp to whatever. Just put that around whatever you're putting that around, I guess. And that's kind of it. that's going to be your receiver. So this is going to go on like your camera. Then we have the transmitter. So again, we have our line in and we have our mic. Same thing on the front. This is where we can set our signals and things like that if we want to, because that's also really important. Power, did I say power on this one? So this is going to be power over here. So this is where we're going to turn this on. Again, USB-C, AA battery, infrared. And here's the big change, and one of the biggest change you'll see on this one. This is that TF card recording. So basically right here, hopefully you guys can see it right there. This is where you and I can put our micro SD card in. So that just kind of slides in there, and now you're double recording. Saving your bacon, per se, right? And this has a neat little kind of spattered, speckled kind of design on it, which is kind of neat, right? It's just got this, yeah, that's kind of handy. Now the other thing too, this guy right here, for instance, this of course is going to be going into the camera or mounted. So this usually would go on the receiver, and this simply just kind of sits here. You just kind of push these closed, and there you go. That's on there, ready to rock and roll. If you don't want it, just kind of clamp those down. There it is. I'm always like, super easy to do, and then I can't do it. So on, voila, get that where it needs to be, and you're ready. So I'm gonna go get some AA batteries. I'm gonna mount it to this camera, and you and I are gonna go do a sound test. We're gonna test these out, see what we think of the audio quality. All right, let's go do that right now. All right, guys, so we're outside, and we are trying out this microphone. And it is a little windy out, I will say, a little windy. So you may hear some wind noise because there isn't like a wind muff, I guess, on top of it. But the bonus is, and this is a big thing for me, I always tend to look around like this. I'm always looking, and because of that, if I have a shotgun mic, my voice is pointing out this way, and of course that becomes an issue, right? So you guys can see the car back there. So we'll continue to do some walking, and hopefully you guys can hear the audio. Again, my guess is you may get some wind noise. I don't know if you'll get a lot, but you should get some. But what I like about this most is that if I was like, oh, take a look at this, I can still keep talking. There's nothing to look at. But those of us that are vlogging, for instance, this becomes an issue where we're always spinning the camera around, spinning it back, and we want to make sure that our audio doesn't completely go to crap, right? So having something that picks that up no matter which way the camera is actually facing, because that's a big issue with shotgun mics. You know, convenient because I don't have this issue of, oh, my battery doesn't die, but knowing that this is going to be just picking up no matter where the camera's pointing, I think that's fantastic. Super nice. And we are shooting with my R6 today, which is awesome. I don't know if the stabilizer is helping much. I do realize that it's heavy, without question. So I have this 16mm on there. This is the other nice thing, actually, for you guys. I'm running an older 16-35, and the lens, when it's autofocusing, with a shotgun mic, you always hear this little tick, 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 tick. But because my mic's not on the lens, or just above the lens, we shouldn't be getting that. So that's a huge added bonus as well, right? So I'm hoping that's gonna just change the game when we're outside. And the mic's right there, just so you guys can see it. There it is right there, and it's down there, fed up through my jacket. All right, let's go in. I'm gonna continue this video, but we're gonna do it strictly with this audio. We're not gonna change to my normal mic, so you guys can hear what it sounds like. All right, let's go upstairs. All right, guys, so we're back in the house, and I've had a chance to import the footage into the computer to take a listen, and yeah, actually it sounds pretty good, especially with the amount of wind that was actually outside. You guys probably didn't see it, but it was quite windy, and there wasn't a lot of that sound going on, so that was actually good. And I do like the fact that with a lav mic, I can kind of move my head wherever I want, so very cool. So this again is it right here, the Lensgo LWM 328C. So kind of some cool features, right? Has that middle mode, which is actually what I'm on right now. So it's a little bit more of a low power mode, but you do have the ability to fluctuate between middle and high if you want. And it can, I believe,
power from like a USB-C cable from a power brick, so that's also a really nice feature. And without question, my favorite feature, bar none, is I love that it can actually take a micro SD card and put it right in the actual transmitter. So it goes right into this right here, and it just stores it in there before it even gets to the camera that's recording it. So you get it in both, just in case something happens with that transmission. It doesn't go, something weird happens. Now, always make sure to check that your cables are plugged in, and usually what I do before I do any of these little videos, for instance, before I actually do my real one, is just do a small recording, just like 5-10 seconds, and play it back just to make sure everything's working. That's just something for you and I to do. And it could be just something as simple as your microphone isn't plugged in all the way into here. And if that's not in here, having a micro SD card in here isn't gonna help. Let's just say what it is. You've lost your audio. Sad but true. All right, guys, so I think this is actually a win for just over 200 bucks Canadian. I do think build quality pretty good. It's a little plasticky, but once you get batteries in there, it's plenty. It's got good weight to it. Batteries is the majority of it. Sound quality seems good. Takes a standard microphone, so if you have different mics, you should be able to plug them into this with no problems. This should have no issues at all. Has some really great features. I'm going to spend some time with the manual just to go over a bit more. Again, I'm not an audio connoisseur. That's not my thing. I like playing with some of the gear, seeing what you and I can get on a budget, and making sure that it's not overly complicated to get started. After that, we can take these and go further and further. I think this has some room to grow with it, which is actually kind of nice. So you can just kind of turn it on and be basic, or you can get in the menu and actually fiddle around a lot. So that's kind of cool. Nice to have something in that $200 price range that you and I have some room to grow with. I think that's good. All right, guys, I'm gonna leave you there. Put links down below, of course, for you guys if you're interested in the 328C from Lensgo. Very cool. And we're gonna leave you there. All right, my friends. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, next video. Later.